Good evening, Sister Girls Night In. Today I am here with the Love Belvin, the curator of all, the mother of Ezra, the mother of Asmir. Let's get it started. How you doing, Sister Girl?
I'm good, Mai. I'm good. I've been looking forward to sitting down talking with you.
Oh my God, I am so honored. By the way,
Oh, thanks,
I,
Mai.
I love you and your work so much. I was a late bloomer. I
Yeah.
came in about 2018, so I was a little.
Well, I was gonna ask you the first impression I had of you, and I knew who you were, was in 2020 when you had said something. You wanted books, and I said I don't know how I had books left over. I think we were trying to get rid of books because I don't keep books, and I said I don't have over. And you said, well, what do you have? We're emailing, and I said I said, well, which one do you want? You said all of them, and from that response, I was like. And then that's when I started seeing you around, and I could tell you had been following me before. I'm slow that way or whatever, but I never forgot you from that day forth, and I know who my ma is. Okay.
Period. Period. So I know when you first started, your book tours or wherever, you hid your image. Was there a reason for it?
It is, and honestly, it's the same reason I still struggle now, because I want my art to lead, right? I want my art to be the face. I want my art to be the energy. So when you're talking about people's like personal lives, even though it's fictitious, people want to know about your personal life. And I'm not a private person, but I'm also not a public person either. Like my life is my life. So I was just like, and let me tell you something, LB is a diva, okay? And I just didn't want to. I think Love Belvin has enough of an ego with the writing, right? Than to bring the whole image and what does she look like and all of this other stuff. I wanted my voice to be heard. So everything else didn't matter. And I still feel that way. I still struggle with getting on camera. If we're face to face and we're live and I'm at an event, it's on and popping. I'm a Belvin. That's what we do. But I just feel like for me, and I tell everyone I was born in 1979, we didn't do all of this stuff.
Yeah.
We really just got the art, and that's really it. And not to sound corny like Beyonce, but I was born in 1979, and that's just really all we got. So that's it. I just want my art to be louder than my physical image. I don't think that matters. I think what I'm putting into the books is what people should consume, and
Yes.
that's the most important thing.
So with that, you're on your lock journey. Hello, hello. You're on your lock journey. I have so many, like before I saw you, I had so many images of you, and then when I saw you, I'm like, "Ah, she's beautiful." But it's like
Oh, thank
you were
you.
so down to earth. I'm not sure if I expected a diva because again, before I saw you in person, I was dealing with you, online and things like that. So I didn't really see a diva, but we did label you the Beyonce of the industry because like your lines were like down the street, round the corner, up the block.
Ah,
Um,
to God be the glory.
yes,
Yeah.
and on top of that, it's like you connected with everyone. You took time out. It wasn't just here's your book, sign it, go. No, you literally connected with everyone that comes
Yeah.
to the line. How
Yeah.
important is that for you to connect
It's
with
very
everyone?
important. I see people every day online that makes me feel like it's my birthday. Every day I interact when someone tells me that my work, touched them, or someone says Jonathan should have never been out there with them, or anything like that.
For me.
Those, yeah, you don't. It's it's not normal behavior. That's not normal interaction. So when it's our time to meet each other, there's no rushing. I mean, I know we have the parameters and everything like that, but I want to see you. I want to see you, and I want you to see me, and I want you to see my heart is open to you, because I don't get that opportunity often. So when it's time for signings, it's my sisterly this time, and we have time constraints. But while I'm in that moment with you, I want to be in that moment with you, even if you like to jump the line like every 30 minutes and just ride and just run up saying, "Hey, Love Belvin, I'm here," or "Hey, hurry up and sign my book." I ain't gonna say we ain't gonna say no names, but that's when it's our time.
Also, cause I know my crew, like
Also,
we held up your line, and they was trying to call me, cause I'm waiting on the line to get short, and it's crazy, cause the indie love in New Orleans, I was one of the first people to walk in, and I walked out of you. and I'm greeting you or whatever, and then I'll walk off and I came back in the line. I'm like, now why didn't I just
My, you were up in front of that line like 4 times, and you said what you had to say, then you go off. Then, like a half an hour later, you come back like, you know, this is tough love. You know, this is tough. I'm like, I know.
Man, it's like it was so it was like just connecting with you. It was just such an experience with me and I loved it. And you had, your little crew with you and you were just so, oh my God, you were so nice. And then when we had the intimate session with you when you opened up to your fans, like it was literally standing room only. It was
But
no room in there.
that was fun. My, you you and I think are similar in personality, and I'm sure people don't know that about me. But from my upbringing, you have to learn how to stand on your own, and sometimes everybody in the room, it could be everybody in the room against you, and you got to come out swinging. That's who I am as a writer. That's who I am when I'm doing when I used to do beta readers and we used to meet physically, and they, oh gosh, like waiting to breathe, they hated that. And I had to stay 10 toes down myself. So when we were in that room and you started talking about jazz, and the whole room was like, no, no, no. For the first time I saw my go. When I tell you I laughed to the point of tears, you were like, okay, all right, fine. Because you kept going at it,
I'm
kept.
like,
And
they like him. I'm like, he's the worst human ever. It was to the point where I'm like, okay, okay, like y'all really defending him. I'm just being honest. I hated him. I still hate him.
I
I just
know.
read about him in your new book, and I still hate him. It's like, why is he here? I've
That was
never
fun.
had such disdain for one of your male leading characters before. Like him, like I get into it with Ayana them about Stanton Rogers and they like jazz. I'm like, how can you? And I struggle with liking him. It's like I'm like, should I do it for Shishi? Because I love Shishi,
Yeah, I know.
love, love,
I
love
know.
Shishi, and I be trying to like him for Shishi, and I'm like, oh my God, like I hate him.
But it makes us colorful. It makes it fun, and it also gets us to articulate what our preferences are, like what we're going to stand for, what we're going to tolerate, how we want to be romanced, and what our voices are going to be like. So I'm here for it. I am here for it. And if Jazz is the first person you didn't like, I'm doing real good. I'm
Yeah.
doing very, very well.
And I'm sitting up there. I'm like, okay, maybe in book 3 I'll like him, and it's just like, oh, but
No,
I did love
I
Jonathan.
knew, yeah, Jonathan was lit. Jonathan was lit. Yeah, I knew by book 2. I was like, Maya's just not gonna like him. And girl, when book 3 came out, my Isha came in my inbox and gave me the business. And I was like, but my, no, that's not right. But my.
Oh my God, I hated him. And still to this day, I'm like, oh, God.
And I think no, I know for sure. I don't know if you heard that on my last chat on YouTube about inevitably love when I talked about Brielle, who I'm working on now. She's on my
Oh my
couch
God,
now.
we should talk
But
about
we're
that.
gonna do Jazz and the Shearer's wedding in this installment. And I can't wait. I've been wanting to do it for a while, but I couldn't because of the timeline. I know, and I can't wait. I'm so excited to see their special day. Yeah.
I allow it. I allow it. So your work. I want to be perfectly clear. It's no favorite that I have where I'm like, you got to start here. You got to. I literally tell people you have to start from the beginning because
Hmm.
there's no starting point
Hmm.
besides the beginning for me because
Hmm.
it's like a timeline of characters and even with your latest work I
Hmm.
see your characters popping up and popping up. I'm like, oh my God, he's back or she's back or
Hmm.
it's like you have to know these characters in
Yeah.
order. They have to grow on you for you
Yeah.
to. And I'm not telling anyone, oh, you can't start if you start where you want to start, but
Yeah.
you're going to end up going back to the beginning
Yeah.
because
That's
of,
often what happens if you like the
yeah.
writing style. If you like the writing style. And. what we do internally is when we're trying to, if someone is saying, oh well, I want to read her, like my partner or my sister, we try to give them like a standalone. And probably Low Love Low Fidelity is going to be that book for us. It used to be Lit, but Lit is so long. But just to kind of give you a taste of it. And then no, Low Love Low Fidelity has a lot of previous clients in it, but
Yeah,
just something to get in and out. And if you like the writing, I do think you get more out of it if you start at the top. I do tell people that, and it's not a marketing ploy. It really does just make sense.
it
So,
does.
but you can read out of order. That's fine.
It does. Also, with I see uh the Loves It Eligible Receiver was the installment of Connecticut Kings. I think that was the latest one that you released from the Connecticut
Oh,
Kings.
I'm sorry.
Yeah,
Well, an
I know
audio,
about Ezra. Yeah, I was listening to that
an
yesterday.
audio.
But Connecticut Kings that you wrote in what is it? I say in rhythm with CCJ is like she wrote, then you wrote, then she wrote,
Mhm.
then you wrote.
Mhm.
And I man, I th- and it's crazy because I think the characters who your fans hate, I
Mhm.
love. Like I love
Mhm.
Nye. I love
I love
Shishi.
Nye. I
I
love
love
Shishi too.
Brielle. I'm
Mhm.
like, what is it with
Yeah, and you know what? Let's take it back. Well, I shouldn't say take it back. No, you okay. So let's not take it back. But speaking of Riel and speaking of people, because there's some sub characters. I really generally don't care about sub characters. They serve their purpose, and I keep it moving. And as we know, Brielle is going to be the first sub character for me that's going to be a client. And I've never done that before, and I don't look forward to doing it. But Brielle told me her story a few years ago, and I was like, oh, okay, I think I can take this on. I think it's important because you visited the LBU quite a few times. Um, but Ebony Williams, I did have a hard time with her. And I even fought like with one of my editors about her because I think Ebony is just a real woman. I don't want her to be villainized. She just made mistakes, just like she did. Just like anybody else, I threw that out there as a jab for you. But like everyone else, she made mistakes.
Mhm.
I know my, but she's just a woman, and we're not perfect. We all have our flaws, and I
Mhm.
felt bad because I feel like Ebony is a bad chick, and she should be heralded. Like I think she's a wonderful, but I just think she just made some bad decisions.
Ah, I'm trying. I'm
Well,
trying.
well, maybe she'll revisit the LBU and we'll get another side of her. But I don't honestly, I don't know. Maybe Ebony, I would. She's never been intended to be a client of mine, but I thought she was a. That was hard for me. That was hard for me.
I'm. I was embarrassed. I'm embarrassed. Like Ebony, you don't have any friends that's gonna, put you on the up and up. I'm trying to get into Ebony, but Brielle, baby, I'm going to get into. Listen, I was so excited when Sean had gave her your. I'm like, oh my god,
Oh
it's like
yeah, yeah.
God, because we've read about Brielle in a couple of books, and she's always been it's like the light she's looked in, like she's larger than life on stage, but then off stage she's like this
She's
person with so
flawed.
many flaws,
She's
so many
flawed.
insecurities. And I believed her when she said she didn't know Austin.
Hmm.
I believed her. That's why I
She
was
didn't
cracking up.
remember. She didn't remember She, and
Yeah,
I believed her too. I honestly
I ain't
believe her.
believe that. I ain't believe that.
I believe that, and you know what I said. Shame on you to have worked closely with someone and not remember they were dating, or didn't even remember her on site. And I get it. You were caught off guard. You're indecent. You open up the door, and this woman is right there. But I did believe her when she said she did not know because she's on a different planet. I don't think she lied. I don't. I think it was Austin. Okay. I think it was Austin's responsibility to not cheat on his
I agree
girlfriend.
with that. I agree with that.
And
My
and and, and you
and
know what? Maybe
cry because when she's hurt, I'm hurt. So that
yeah.
scene
And you
feels
know
like
what?
she's
Maybe just shame
invincible.
on Brielle for not maybe shame on Brielle for not being aware of what's because if Austin is the Michael B. Jordan of the LBU, then why would you not know but you want to sleep with him? You took it there to sleep with him. Why would you not say is he dating anyone? Just Google him and you would have seen a share. Now I believe Brielle is guilty of that. not being aware.
I think she didn't want to know.
I don't think she cared, and that's that's her flaw. You know, you can't be up in the clouds all the time and not read the room or just be in touch. Be self aware, like you know.
Makes sense. Makes. I thought that scene where she was like, I'm invisible. Like she doesn't remember me. She's not even that great of an actress. Like that. I kiki like ah. Like she threw the, she threw that shade, but then I felt so bad for Shishi because she really did love Austin.
Yeah, she did.
But I think Jazz saw from the beginning, Austin didn't feel the same way about her, that he didn't protect her. And that's what he
Mm-hmm.
would, I can agree with that part. Like, if you love a woman, you protect her. You make
Mm-hmm.
sure she's good. And he lacked that for her. I think after he lost her, he did want her back.
Mm-hmm. Oh, and
Um,
just so the audience is following, we're talking about the prison series now.
yes, the prison series.
Which,
So,
by the way, my is one of my favorite audio projects in the album. Yeah, I heard that, girl. I don't revisit. I'm not even an audiobook person. I revisit that thing every once in a while. They ate so bad.
yes, they
They
did.
ate down, and my expectations was like here because I'm like audio, blah 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 blah. And Winston, James, and Alex Monroe, I fangirled. I was like, holy crap! But I'm sorry, I interrupted you.
No, that was and my favorite is the Muted Love series. I just
Is
and I
it
want to go back to that. I'm gonna
the
on
storyline
audio
or the
on
audio?
audio. The
Audio.
story first and foremost, when I read my Muted Love, it's like the first book. I remember you wrote, you was like, all my fans are just looking at me like, and I'm like, why did she end it like this? Like it was so confused, like this
Oh,
hard pressed girl, tomboy
oh yeah.
doesn't like what, and you ended with, how you ended it.
Mhm.
Y'all have to read it if you want to know how she ended it, book one. But it's like I was like, wait a minute,
How
Tori, like where
bizarre.
did this come
How
from?
bizarre. Mhm.
And then when book two starts, I'm like, oh my God, like I think book one, I wasn't really sad and didn't really side with Tori until I listened to the audiobook. I'm like, this
Oh
girl really went
wow.
through hell. Like,
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
and I
Yeah.
wrote on your wall the other day, I'm like, he really barked at her. Like
He
he
did.
barked at her. And
Mhm.
then it's like, later on, he came and said, he was mad at Avery. He didn't know how to, handle that. So he took it out on
Mhm.
her, which I
Mhm.
still haven't forgave Austin.
Mhm.
I mean, Austin,
Ashton.
Lord, Ashton for,
Because
but
Tori caught a stray.
she did. And like, it's like they had the whole school rooting against her. And she did nothing but exist.
Mhm.
And when
Mhm.
she would say things like, I just want to be invisible, just leave me alone, don't
Mhm.
pay me no attention, like that bothered me. I
Yeah.
I promise you,
Mhm.
I when I was listening to the audio, it brought
Mhm.
emotions out of me that I didn't
Yeah.
get when I first read.
Oh wow. I've heard someone say that. Now I often say, you know, you have the base of the art, which is the
Mhm.
writing, but then there are dimensions. You have an audio, you may have a visual, you may have, I'm sorry, still visuals, and you may have like a play or you may have a movie, but there are different dimensions to telling the story. So I think the more colorful the dimension, the more effective it is.
Mhm.
So yeah, I mean, I can understand that, but Tori, her story was just so big.
It
I
was
know
horrible.
enough Tories. I know enough Tories that may not have had the skill set she did that was so obvious to help her out of her situation. But I know lots of Tories, like, you know, just hopeless and no one speaking life to them and no one saying, hey, you have a gift. Let me take you over here to have that gift nurtured to hopefully bring you out of poverty. I know tons of Tories. So it was her story was really easy to tell. And even the way book one ended, she didn't like to be touched physically,
No.
but she knew one way that she could possibly say thank you.
And it's like with Ashton, I think, and it's crazy, like I can pinpoint the moment he started looking at her as a woman
Yeah.
in that book. but I didn't pinpoint it until I listened to the audio. I'm like,
Wow.
this man really did. Um, I'm not gonna say. Um, I want to say obsession, but it was kind of like an obsession. He was really obsessed with her. And I don't think she saw it because she was so busy. She couldn't get Avery and Ashton out of her head to where she could see her
Mhm.
existing with Ashton, and that was her
Mhm.
downfall.
Mhm.
Um,
Mhm.
even when later on, when she was like, she didn't ask for them to talk about them because she didn't want to know. She didn't
Mhm.
want to know that she
Mhm.
lost, and that right there was something where I'm like,
Mhm. Mhm.
Tori, I want to root for you, but you got to get over this. You got the
Mhm.
man now. You know, whatever
Mhm.
happened with him and Avery happened. But I think it was just so hard of her getting over Avery. The ghost of even the ghost of Avery was still beating
It
her
was
ass.
still in. It was still in her heart. She was really heartbroken. But I think by the time we had met them, was it 12 years ago? I think her losing Bobby was wrapped into the whole Avery thing. So it wasn't just about the Avery. It's about I. All of this comes together for me, and I don't want to think about that part of my life. And it
Mhm.
was wrong. It was wrong. You really do need to think. Deal with it, work things through, work things out, whatever. So you're right about that. But I think all of it was attached to a bad space, even from when she lost her mom. So I think that it was all, they were all attached. It was cumulative. So that's the reason why she was so obsessive. It's not even the word I'm looking for. About I don't want to don't bring up nothing back there. We're here or whatever. Like don't talk about the past. Like don't talk about BSU. And I still to this very day don't think Tori considers herself as a Panther. I still to this very day don't think she considers herself a Panther.
That's interesting. That's interesting. I never really thought of that. You know,
Mm-hmm.
my you know what, another book that like pulled my heartstrings was the Rhythm and Blues series with Winter and Raji. I think they're my favorite couple because they were yes, I think they are definitely my favorite couple because I felt like those two, they were meant to be. Like it started off rocky, but it's like once Raji let his guard down
Mm-hmm.
and saw her for who she was and she did the same, I think it was just that was, to me,
Yeah.
that's the best LB universe couple. I think and next to be would be Kenny and Young Lord, but right now I think Winter and Raji have the lead by like a like
Wow.
light years. I love them. I think I that was, to me, was the most organic. The way he loved her
Mm-hmm.
was I don't think any man has loved on a woman in the LBU like that. The way he protected her, the way he
Yeah.
protected her from everybody. It was like you couldn't say anything bad about Winter to him. He was ready to
I think it
literally.
took him a while. And see, here I give my praises to Winter because I think Winter, once she learned he had some handicaps,
Mhm.
before she even really learned his full truth, she was very patient with him. At first, she was just like, F you, F you, F you, F you. And then she realized something is off. And then she was patient. And once it was revealed, she still had to be patient. But I remember the time of her anger. She was just like so angry, like, okay, let me do something for me, and don't involve yourself. And I think it was a practice of patience with Winter Farage, even sexually, because she was the more adventurous one, and teaching him how to enjoy it, and teaching him that there doesn't have to be barriers in it. You can reroute what you thought about sex, what you were brought up to think about sex. It can be a beautiful, fun thing. I like
Mhm.
that about her. That attracted me to her because she even spoke about her grandparents not shunning sex.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And when you do it, have fun. Do it right. Do it responsibly, and have fun. And that's just who my girl was. So when it came to Raj and he had this big thing, about sex, I think she was very patient with him. And Raj stayed in his head a lot. So when you have a partner, you got to come out and you got to talk more. You have to communicate. So
But
I think he eventually got it together.
he
But
had real demons. Like,
Mhm. Mhm.
jeez. Oh,
Yeah.
and a lot of your clients, their life, yeah, they had hard upbringings. Um, you know, I call her Nalive. What is it, Nalive?
Oh, knowledge, knowledge.
That's what
Balan.
yeah, that's what he calls her, and that's
Sadiq. Hmm.
and it's like even with Sadiq and her, it's like your own brother betrayed you. Like, it's just so many layers to. I loved her. I did. I thought she was a warrior through it all. I thought she was the most unpolished woman you had, if that makes sense. Like, she
Balan.
was just wet behind the ears. She was naive to everything. But
Oh,
yeah,
so you mean naive? Heck yeah. Okay. When you said I'm polished, I'm thinking about um Lex or
not
Sundria.
to apologize. Just think that she was just so green to everything. It was like.
Everything. I'm gonna be honest with you. I will be green at everything. And what Balan had to learn was how to run with those wolves. Because if she did not learn how to run with those wolves, she would have lost Sadiq. Because Sadiq, on even though he was patient with her, protective of her, she had to get some balls. She had to learn how to run with that pack of wolves. Yeah.
I, I I don't know if she didn't have anybody but her brother, and he was a piece of
Yeah. Hmm. A
you know
POS.
yes, he was a big pos.
Yeah. Yeah.
um but all your books, and I'm gonna go, Lena. One of my, love, inconvenient, truth, doubt. That's my. I can't wait for that to come on Audible. I
Hmm.
really, really love that book. Of course, I love Stanton and Zoe. I love them. I I am really, really, really anticipating this new one on Audible if you're gonna do it. But what I will say, and I'm gonna start. I want to discuss this since it's your latest book. The them meeting how they met with her playing a prostitute and him, soliciting her. When I read more about it, I was actually shocked that he took that route because he just seems so bigger than that.
Hmm.
Like like that would be something he frowned upon, but
Hmm.
he embraced it in that
Hmm.
moment. And I'm like, is maybe it was just her. But
Hmm.
as you read the book and get to know this man, you like,
And we're
how
talking
did
about the complicated series, my most recent release.
yes,
Yeah.
yeah.
Hmm.
It's like, how did
So in the meantime, we're talking about how the book opens up with
yes,
um, Hayden playing, well, not playing, just dressed up as
yeah.
prostitutes to
That was
have a
that. That
night.
was
That was their last.
they
She went
there.
out there with her girls, and it was their last night in town. And one of them came up with the idea of, "Hey, we're gonna all dress up like prostitutes." So she got separated from the group, and she's like pining, for home or her cousin's new babies. And Ashan, who we didn't know at the time was the COO of the casino they're in, um, assumed she was a prostitute. And after she had to think, and she looked, considered what she was wearing. She was like, okay, I'll go with the prostitute, whatever. But then he really thought she was a prostitute and propositioned her. And she was just like, okay, I'm down, I'm with it. And for a couple months, they played those roles with two encounters. And
Yes,
I too, and I think his assistant,
Munchie,
well, Munchie,
Munchie.
thank you. Munchie was just like, you would do that. Currently at that
Yes.
time, we were dealing with prostitutes. But I had to explain to someone the backstory that never made to the page. When you have casinos and you're in urban cities like that, or major metropolitan cities littered with tourism, you're going to have that debris there. You're going to have drugs, you're going to have alcohol, you're going to have prostitutes. And Sean's job was to mitigate it all. You can't eliminate it all because you're in an environment that has everything, and people come to let their hair down. But it is his job to mitigate it all. So when they had a recent incident, before the book opens, with an unlisted group of prostitutes, not the ones that were approved. That's off the page. So Munchie's thing was, we're dealing with that, right? We're trying to mitigate the prostitutes and stuff like that, and you really took a prostitute to your unit too, like that's
Right.
crazy. Yeah, and then that second time he saw her, I think before their second encounter, but certainly that in Atlantic City at the second hotel, he's the COO of. He because of now he's with his wits, and he knows all of the events going on his property. He was, I think, before their second interaction, he knew you're not a prostitute, but I'm gonna play with you now because
Okay. Yeah.
I'm gonna play along with you, because you're interesting and you're
She
fun.
was.
Yeah,
Yeah. She
he
fit right
knew.
through. Hmm.
Yeah, they had already run her through. They knew, he knew, but he was just like, dang, like, so yeah, that was fun. That was really, really interesting, with those two. And I had to learn a lot about Ishan, um that I didn't know when he introduced himself to me, but it was fun. It was fun.
And we meet Mandy in the beginning. Well, we said goodbye to Mandy in the beginning, I should say. But she was one at when I kept reading, I saw how he got with Mandy and how basically she's always been trouble in his life. I was not shocked at how or why she died.
Mhm.
It's like she was created and put in his life to just be a thorn in his side.
Mhm.
She never embraced him and the love he had for her.
Mhm.
From what I read about her,
Mhm.
I'll just be honest. I wasn't sad to see her go. Um, Basically, no tears shed over that. But to know that it was someone who he helped get his
Yeah.
life together,
Yeah.
both of them actually betray him the most. And
Mhm.
it's like he said, you guys still picture me as that naive kid, that was
Mhm.
sheltered. You guys didn't see what I was, but I'm truly
Mhm.
nobody to be
Mhm.
messed around with.
Mhm.
And they learned they if it's a what is it, FAFO, come around and find out,
Mhm.
type of moment.
Mhm.
But when reading the book, I really I will say I was entertained because I didn't know where you were going with it.
Mhm.
I'm like, okay, she's very complicated, but then he's complicated too.
Mhm. Mhm.
And 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 towards the end, when he caught her out at dinner and he's like F like that man, I'm like,
How in the meantime ended.
yeah, I'm
Mhm.
like that's really when I was like, I ain't like him. I ain't like the way he talked to
Mhm.
her.
Mhm.
I found
Mhm.
any little thing. And that was my little
Because
thing, like,
he
why
snapped on
is
her,
he
and I
on
think
her?
that was, and I don't know if we realized that was one of the few times we saw his insecurity rise. His thing
Hmm.
was, I just dropped my guard with you, and now you're with this guy, not realizing she has no idea he knew Rob. She doesn't know. She's just out living her life, and Ishan is accustomed to knowing everything, right? And then, at first you told me you were a prostitute, and then I had to find it was just, we saw an insecurity that probably was born out of the relationship he had with Mandy, and how Mandy was such a culture shock to him. And, like you said, how that ended. I'm gonna tell you something else that I found interesting about their story. The dynamic between him and Troy. I believe his name was Troy, Makai's dad,
Yeah,
his
his
biological
biological
father.
dad. Hmm.
I found it interesting because when you're young, and me coming from an urban area, you think the guy on the block is the cool guy. You think he's the it guy. I mean, yeah, he got locked up or whatever, but he was that dude on the street. And then we fast forward to his son is about 17, 18 years old, about to graduate high school, and he ain't got nothing to offer his own son. Like, he just is sad. He has health issues. He doesn't have any money. He's not the man anymore. So this goofy from the suburbs, who, your baby's mom, and I think Mandy for him was more than his baby mom's, because they had a relationship for so many years before Sean even came into the picture. But this goofy is the person, if you could go back, to to when you were younger, you would have been his best friend. You would have wanted his life. And I felt so bad there at that table at the diner
Yeah.
when he is just like, I'm here. I don't want to be here, but I'm here because your stepdad or your whatever has been forcing me to be a part of your life. And I know you're my son, but I don't have nothing to offer
I'm
you.
telling you. Mm-hmm. And then
I
told him he's down. His health was going. Now I don't even much have my health anymore. And I'm like,
all that bravado out the window. And that I was
yeah,
really sad. And I was sad for Makai. And for Makai to
he lost
say,
it.
why are we doing this? Like, why? What are we doing this for? And he didn't understand because he's not an adult. His brain isn't fully developed.
Mm-hmm.
Makai, I'm gonna always be your father, but this is your biological. You have to know where you come from. And that's I try to deal a lot of that with my work. Like I talk about family, what's in your bloodline. We everybody is complicated, everyone is flawed. But let's get to the genesis of where you are. Let's get to the pathology of who you are. Speaking, going back to the movie Hopelessness series, talking about Tori and her mom, how she felt her mom was promiscuous, and Tori was like, I don't want to be promiscuous. I don't want to be a homewrecker. Like I don't want to, you deal with those pathologies and what people struggle with. I thought that was like really, really important. So anyway, Ashan wants his son to know where he comes from. He wants him to know his biological family. And this is something I preach in my personal life. You want to know the good side of the family, your good blood and your bad blood,
That's,
because it
mhm.
can all help you become a better person if you're careful. So
And I like that. I also like that you brought Leroy into it. Um,
Leroy.
he is so. Every time he touched down in the book, I be cracking up. Like he
I
is
love
so
Leroy.
funny
And
to me.
I love that Leroy made himself a person who even heterosexual men have to respect and they want to be
Mhm.
his friend.
Yes.
Because he, I'm trying not to cuss out here, not that I'm a cusser, but when I get into this LEU, I will cuss.
It's
Um,
okay. It's
but
okay.
he's with the ish, and he has a sense of humor, and he has some wit and wisdom about him too. When talk about these relationships or whatever. You know what I was thinking about just the other day? Who I'm in love with?
Ooh.
Domingo Coleman, or is it Coleman Domingo? Coleman Domingo. When you see him around social media, I was like, dang, I think he'd play a good Leroy. Because then his like he's a gay man, married. He's
Mm.
married to a man or whatever. But he is so dynamic. I want to be his friend.
Well,
I want to be his friend in real life. He's not effeminate at all, but you'll sniff it out if you will, because he's free. He's But I was saying the other day, people who are listening, who are watching, will say, Coleman Domingo, because now it's his time. So you're not familiar with him because he's been in smaller projects, but he's at his prime now, so he's popping up everywhere. I think he'd be good, and I want to be his friend. He seems to be like a good energy person.
Make that
But anyway,
happen.
I think he'd be great for Leroy.
It's crazy because they told me to watch that. My coworkers and everybody, they've been telling me to watch it, and I was like, I think about it. It's like a
Well, if you're
series.
not yeah, it's a series, and if you're not into television, but maybe you would because it was an adaptation, a reimagination from
Yeah.
Judy Bloom's book, and Myra Brock. I'm gonna mess up her name. Beautiful black woman, someone we all need to be supported. They're the one who created Girlfriends. Her and her husband, Girlfriends. She did a lot of stuff. It's not coming to me, and I'm embarrassed right now. Myra Brockhill or something like that. But anyway, she was behind it. Beautiful woman too, and it's been renewed for season 2. It's young love, young YA, young adult.
Mhm.
YA ain't my thing. They were a little spicy for YA for me, and you would think I love it, but I have my personal reasons why. But I love the story. I love the dynamic. I love the family in it, and So anyway, if maybe you'll like it, maybe you won't, but just support it if you just give it a try to see if you can support it.
Also, you and I love Shamar. We be sending each other the videos of Shamar, and to see him a character similar to, to him in the.
We ain't supposed to be up here telling our personal business, my.
Y'all, we love Shamar. We be listen when I see something funny, and she said we be sending because Shamar. It's like what
It's
we
between
say.
me, you, my sister Ruby, and Evelyn. That's who
Yeah.
I send my Shamar stuff to. It's just the
Hmm.
four of us.
He was like, Martin Luther King was black. I was like, ooh,
And Shamar is so convicted.
too funny. But when does LIT come into Audible? That's number one. I
That's
want
the
to
only
see.
thing. I feel like that's the one project I've never been given a date for. I've casted for it and I've never been given a date. And it's funny because I was talking to someone a few weeks ago. I said, I'm okay. I'll wait. We have so much coming out. And the reason why I think I want to just coast in it is because that book is going to have to be re-edited. And I don't have the time to do that. I'm actually re-editing the Love Unaccounted series for audio. And I didn't think I would have to. And I read the writing in it and I was like, no, I don't mature past this too much. So yeah, so I don't have a date for that. So maybe it'll be the top of 2026. I don't know, but I don't know.
Okay.
I I don't know.
Okay, so let's go back to the complicated series. So
Mm-hmm.
it's a lot. Let me tell you, it was so much to unpack, especially in book two. I'm just,
Mm-hmm.
it's like every time I was turning the page, I'm like this. Like it was funny because my son walked in the room. He's home for summer, so I'm in the bed, my feet kicked up, and I'm reading. I'm like laughing and stuff, and he like, "You reading a book?" He said, "I thought
Because
you
you're
was on
getting
the
so much
phone."
from the
Cause I'm
book.
talking
Yeah.
to I'm
Yeah.
talking to the book.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
But a couple of things I wanted to talk about, and I wrote a couple of things down just in case I forgot. When she kept referring to him as her wannabe baby daddy, when I say I was hollering, she was like my wannabe baby daddy.
Her thing is, I done told you you can go. You have no proof. You can just go if you want, but you just want to be my baby's daddy. So
For real. And also like when you started the story about Mandy in the first book, I'm like, okay, I know she's gonna get to it, but baby, when it you unpacked in that book too, I'm like, oh, this is juicy, baby. I had to get
Mhm.
some popcorn. I
Yeah.
can listen. The fact that he was there through when she needed him, trouble times, every
Mhm.
step, every time she needed him, he was there. When she got assaulted by Troy, when she was
Mhm.
pregnant by Troy, when she had no place to stay, and you
Mhm.
betray him like that, I'm just like,
Again.
I
Mhm.
wanted to dig her up myself. Like,
And slap her. And I didn't know how that was going to end. I knew Mandy was dead. I knew she died in that incident. I didn't know really until I got there. Well, no, a little bit before I got there, but definitely I didn't know before I started book two. I didn't know I didn't know how it ended, and it's just sad. But it's
it's
to
reality.
me it's reality. Thank you, Mike. You took it out. It's reality because when you come across someone that's of a different speed than you are, and they're a little faster in an area, you can get got like that,
Mm-hmm.
and that probably jaded Sean's views on women and why he never needed to have a girlfriend or needed to be in a relationship. That was a rough start.
And Jackson, like, I literally pulled you up from your bootstraps, helped you along the way, got you employed, and he betrayed him a couple of times. He set him up to be killed, and robbed in Mexico. And
Mm-hmm.
then the incident with Mandy is like of every you always wanted what I had, and I couldn't understand that.
He's another
So
slickster. What was his name? Actually, you said Jackson.
yeah,
His name's not
Mr.
Jackson.
Williams, Jackson Williams.
It's not
What it is?
Jackson. It's not Troy because we know who Troy is. It starts with a T, I think. It's
I
not
thought his name was
Jackson.
Jackson Williams.
Mm-mm.
No, it's Mr. Williams. Does the nurse the nurse say your
Mm-hmm.
brother's in the
Mm-hmm.
scene?
Dang, it's gonna come back to me. It's gonna come back to me because I feel like his name was too close to Troy. Because I just be making up names as I go, unless you're a main character. But yep. But yeah, and that's another thing. Meeting people who are, I'm telling you, I know people like that. They're faster at life. They their natural inclination is to get over and to plot against a an unsuspecting person. Like that's just it, and it ain't personal. It's just who they are. And yeah, yeah, and Sean got mixed up in that too. Yeah.
Wait, wait. When she said you guys were a lavender couple, he was like, "Wait, are you calling me gay? Did she call him gay?" I promise you, that part is when I promise you I almost fell off the
That
bed.
is that when he came in the room, I
When he was like,
when you were
when
cracking.
no,
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 meaning
that wasn't the part.
when your son
No,
came in the room.
no, it wasn't that
Oh,
part. But that
oh,
part had me cracking up. Um, I think the wannabe baby daddy is when she came on, like she keep trying him. Like I said that and I'm laughing at my son, like, I thought you were on the phone. You reading a book? Like,
oh, when
yes.
she kept saying it.
And then, oh my God, and then I love on the Kindle version, you have the things where we can click on the scenes when you wrote
The
about the
links,
Nick, the
type
Nick and
them.
Santana.
My,
Uh,
that was the Belvin. Yo, Santana. I'm like, were they acting? Because the way Santana got up at the Nick and he like
with them badass knees.
yes, he went there. Nick was like, "You better than that. You better." That was
Oh
yeah, that was funny. That was hilarious. That's when I had my little fun.
that was hilarious.
You about to go
Oh yeah,
Santana on me?
when she called him baby boo.
And she really said, "Don't call me that. That is so corny. Do not call me that."
I promise you, I had so much fun with them. Book two, maybe because they were together more. Because book
Yeah.
one, they were more separated. Book two, they were together more, and
Hmm.
I really enjoyed them together. I know Makai didn't, but
Hmm.
I did.
If I saw 3 books for them, we would have gotten a lot more out of the dynamic between Makai and Hayden. That how they came together or how they decided on the type of relationship they'd have. I was interested in doing that. Honestly, if we would have gotten 3 books, Ebony would have had her baby too. Ebony would have had her baby, and then we would have had to learn as a woman of the well, we have men in the LBU too, right? But we would have had to learn as a community how to co-parent in a complicated situation. But I did not have 3 books. I didn't have enough
I
outside
love
of
how
those
the,
two
I
things.
love how the embryos went missing though.
But did you catch the lab mention
Mm-hmm. Ezra's
about?
left
Hmm. Hmm.
because Ezra mentioned it when they were talking. He told her he had a lab.
Hmm. He had nothing to do with it because he doesn't manage that wing. That's a new wing in terms of their services. But yeah.
When we met 973, I'm gonna have to buy the album, by the way, the group. But baby, this another part when I laughed out loud when you were like, there are no Damon Halls, Mike Bivens, or Mr. Dalvin here. I screamed so loud.
My, you just telling all my silliness. Let people dig to get that stuff.
I
That
screamed
was like,
so loud. I said, "Oh my God!" I thought about it. I said, "At least Mr. Dalvin was fine. Mike Bivens it was no."
Mike Bivens is the business mind of New Edition and
Yes.
BBD. So he serves his cookie. He
And
serves his.
Damien Hall was just the brother of Aaron Hall. He just
But I like Damon came out with an album my dad and I liked.
it was
And
okay.
Damon Hall, let me tell you something I noticed about these groups, these R&B groups. It's like the ones that don't have the vocal ability, like the Aarons, like because I'm gonna go left with that. But the ones without it, they have more to lose. So those are the ones that's trying to get the band back together. But it's the ones that are relied on because of their vocal superiority that has the ego that won't allow the group to keep
Keep
going.
going. Mm-hmm.
It's the weirdest thing. But I mean, I know that's not why you brought it up. But I think about things like that.
That's Tiki from. Well, I mean, with Raphael Sadiq and was Don from In Vogue. You
Mm-hmm.
right. Yeah, you're
Mm-hmm.
right.
Mm-hmm.
Um, now Brielle, and I bring this up. I listen. I am ready for Brielle. I wasn't too mad at her with Jade and Trent, right?
Mm-hmm.
I was very, very upset with her with Austin and Shishi. Like
Mm-hmm.
very, very, very upset. But I'm over it. Brielle, it's like it was a cry for help when she was talking to Ishan. It was like really a cry for help. And I feel bad for her because it's like you can, and they were talking about her stage presence is so commanding. She has
Mm-hmm.
everybody attention, and then when she's off the stage, and I know she was saying like she apologized for being a diva, and that
Mm-hmm.
she's trying to get out of that, but her team, and he's like, your team, and she's like, yeah, my team. And it's like, I'm like, do she have awful people around her that's making her awful?
I don't think that. I think what she was trying to say was, I trained them to be that way, and now I don't want to be that way anymore. They're still like that. That's what she was trying to say. And
Mhm.
she's realizing, like, yo, I gotta let that go. Like, this is interfering in business and stuff like that. That's what she was trying to say. It was them that came with that energy because I taught them that energy, and I'm not about that anymore. So yeah.
and and then the Purple Hearts in Square Places, the lyrics, and I'm trying to get the beat to it because I know you said it was like a metal
Hmm.
kind of rock thing, and I'm trying to get the beat to it, but I'm going to be singing it at work, and I'm just going to
You know
probably
that
throw
I hear it
little
all in my
videos.
head. I and Be My Whore. I hear that clearly in my
Me
head.
too.
I
I be
hear
scared.
the part. Um, I'll think of that over the next couple of days because that beat. I'm sure it's not original to me. I'm sure I got it from somewhere. I'll think about something you can listen to kind of get that the energy from that. Yeah.
Okay. So, you spoke about Ebony. So we first met Ebony in the Muted Love series when she interviewed Tori.
Was that our first time meeting?
I
Her
think that was
interview
that's
hostess
what I
Tori.
remember. That's what I remember. And if the
Okay,
fans
it
can
could
correct,
be.
if the
It could
fans can
be.
correct me, you guys can correct me. You guys can
Or
leave
even
the
they can
message in the
correct us
chat.
both because I
Yeah.
know she's been in the LBU twice before complicated, but that could have been the first, man. That could have been the first.
Yeah, I
But she
remember
was
that when she interviewed when Tori went on her
that was
show, she
that
was
was
based
in
in Canada.
book three, our reckless
Yeah.
one.
That was when Ashton and her had decided to rekindle, and she told them. So I
I
remember her
apologize.
on that, and they was saying how much of a dynamic woman she was, how basically she was the Oprah of this generation, and I get it. But it's like when I met her in this book, I'm like,
Nothing
get her away
impressive.
from me. I didn't like her.
So let's circle back to the beginning of our chat, and you said, "Why do you like to hide your face?" Because I don't need you to have the energy of me. Because you may decide in real life you don't like LB. And guess what? I'll be okay with that, but I wouldn't be okay if that affected you connecting with my art. Behind the scenes, we all got some stuff with us. And I
Hmm.
think I'm a pretty good person. I think I'm the bomb. But the people close to me, like my sister, my lover, they'll be like, yeah, okay. You know? We all have things and I think we have to keep that in mind. When we see Brielle's ugliness, when we see Ebony's ugliness, we see everybody's ugliness. We're going behind the veil. So outward, like most people don't know the stuff that Brielle got into and stuff like that, but we have the privilege of going inside their minds, inside their lives. So that's what I'm saying. Ebony is a good person. She's really a good person. She's a bomb black woman. She really is. She's accomplished. She's someone I'm with Aiden.
Career
She's
wise.
black girl magic. Yeah, career wise, what she's doing for like business wise. I think she's done some wonderful things. I feel like just when it comes to relationships, she's no good. And that's why they come see me. I'm not saying she's coming to see me, but
You
that's where I
know
come in as a
who,
fictional therapist.
I'm gonna get away because I keep getting away from this book.
Mm-hmm.
I want a book with Candace. I don't know. I need
Yeah.
Jackie.
Yeah, people ask for that.
I
I don't
love
know.
her.
I
To know that
don't know.
she's still LBU men hopping it sits right with me because she's picking some great men to hop after. By the way,
But
you
who
know,
was she actually in a relationship with? I know she's flirted.
she
She's
was
flirted
never
with
in a
Rudd.
relationship with no, yeah,
Nah. Mm-mm,
no,
mm-mm, mm-mm.
yeah. She went off on Emily, and yeah, that was because I had to get Candace right when I listened to it the other day, because I listened to it. I'm like, get a Candace. um,
Yeah, people used to ask for that, and I'm like, yeah,
yep. So another thing, when Ebony joined their table, when they were, their little circle, she made it a square, and she came with all that energy about them being in the tub together, and I'm just like, what did this come from? It's like she came out just throwing uppercuts,
being ugly, just being ugly.
and I couldn't understand it. And then when they started teasing about being mothers, I'm like,
They were taking
oh, they went to hell with it. I can, you know what? I can deal with
that.
it. So that's how me and my
Those are
we want to
cousins.
go to hell. We want to go
Hmm.
to hell with it. But
Those are the cousins. You can't mess with them because I
at
think
all.
Raina started catching on afterward. After a while, like, yeah, you're being shady. Something ain't
So
right.
let's do it. Um, but it's like when Eshawn had called them for a meeting, and I do like him. He gets to the bottom of things quickly. He doesn't let it linger. He's not like the rest of a lot of the LBU men who let things linger until it gets out of control. I think
Hmm.
he more likes to nip it in the bud right
Hmm.
then and there. I think that's why I like him the most.
Hmm.
Not out of all the men, but I liked his approach with things. Like, let me nip it in the bud before it gets out of hand now.
Hmm.
So I
Hmm.
like
Hmm.
that approach. I like that
I
approach.
feel like someone
um,
else said that. Hmm.
yeah.
Hmm.
And I think that's what I like the most about him. That was one of his character. He didn't have a flaw about that. He addressed it, and he didn't want Hayden to be uncomfortable. He wanted her to be comfortable and trust him. And I think that had a lot to do with his issues he had with trusting people. Like he wanted the black, white, and gray area for everything.
Hmm. Hmm. Hmm.
And I don't think he wanted a gray area lingering anyway. He wanted to either
Hmm.
black or white when it came to him and her.
Hmm. Hmm.
So I like that he nipped that in the bud right away.
Hmm.
Another thing, when Hayden started telling her story about, her great great uncle, and also about how her mom handled it, and her dad, because she was a product of an affair,
Hmm.
and how their family never embraced her, even a man who blood she had flowing through her veins. And we see that a lot, where
Hmm.
these men cheat on their wives, the women decide to have the babies, and the children suffer through. They're the
Hmm.
ones suffer when they shouldn't be the ones
Hmm.
suffering, but it seems like the children suffer the most. So
Yeah.
I did take that into account with that. So when she said three words, it was the stability, security, and protection.
Mm.
And I feel like he was the one to offer all of that to her. And I think that was when she said that, it's like he caught on, like, this is why she's been distant with me. This is why, it's so hard for her to trust me. So he worked on the thing with Ebony. He worked on the thing with her father. He went and talked to her mother about, how uncomfortable it was with the great uncle knowing
With
what he
Billy.
did.
Hmm.
And
Hmm.
I just like that he was a problem solver, like not
Hmm.
only in his line of work, but in his personal life too.
Hmm.
He didn't sugarcoat anything with Makai. He let him know, look, I'm not your father. You will get to know I'm not your biological father.
Hmm.
You will
Hmm.
get to know him. You will know that side. But I'm your father. I'm the one who,
Hmm.
nurtures and protects you and guides you through
Hmm.
life.
Hmm.
So that, I think, to me, Ishana, I think the most the love I have for him is him handling his business right away and
Being
not
a
letting
man, being
yes.
a leader, being
And
a leading
I
man.
loved him for that. I did at first. I'm just like, hating, like, God, this man is trying. You just keep. But when she told her story about how she never fit in and how it was so hard for her to trust men, when she finally told her story, I understood. I
Yeah.
did, and
Hmm.
I
Hmm.
I I did like that. Also with Sean being a problem solver, how he jumped on Damika in quote unquote Henry situation where the one night stand where he was able to bring him so Mika can see him.
Yes, Mika. That was,
Henry.
yeah, Mr. Henry fibbing, picking up tourists at work. Yeah, yeah.
So yeah, he was again. That's his problem. So he literally solved everything with just one. You asked him once, and he got through the bottom of it. I don't know. I want to say I don't want to put him up there, but I think he's up there to me with
Okay.
the, you know, um, Jazz is at the bottom for me. That I don't think no one will ever be as bad as Jazz for me. I just y'all, I tried to all the fans. I know y'all gonna eat me up in the comments. I tried like it, Jazz. I listen to these books and I'm like, let me go and write. Let me make myself like him.
Do you think Jazz killed Idris?
Of
The
course.
You think he did?
I also think that, and let me be, oh, and that's another thing about Jazz that I can compare with Ishan. It's like they both kill, but they kill for the good of things. If that makes
Mm-hmm.
sense,
Mm-hmm.
like
Mm-hmm.
they kill for a reason. And
Mm-hmm.
I love me a killer. I love me a killer.
Well, on paper, they're killing for good reasons. I don't know on their path, especially Jazz.
Oh, and Leroy being the Godfather. Oh my God.
Leroy, I don't even know if Leroy really is the Godfather. Leroy said he was.
He said
Leroy,
he is, and if he said he is, that's what he is. We gonna let him win that. So that was, oh yeah, and I liked his mother.
Dr. Patterson. I meant to cut in when you were talking about Ishan with his ability to understand Hayden's weaknesses, her deficiencies, and kind of aid it from there. We can't discount the fact that he didn't have a black mother who is a psychologist, I think, who
Mhm.
poured into him, right? She taught him about people. She taught him about pathology and things like that. She taught mental pathology and uh, behavioral about pathology. And she taught him to be graceful to black women. And I think it's very, very, very important for for black mothers to teach their sons. You give us grace. You give us grace. You see something, you see a black woman, always be able to give a compliment that's not sexual or anything like that. Always, even if it stays in your mouth, always see something good in a black woman. And I believe that helped him. So shout out to Dr. Patterson.
Yeah, and I like the fact that she let him make his mistakes without being so overbearing.
Overbearing. Mm-hmm.
Because like he said, she knew that Mandy wasn't pregnant from him. It is, but she didn't make a big deal out of it. If that's your decision, if that's what you want,
Mm-hmm.
then I'm gonna let you have that. I like that she wasn't overbearing and she allowed him to make his own mistakes, live his own life. I did appreciate
Yeah.
that about her.
Mm-hmm.
Um and I like that she corrected Mikai when he would get out of line.
Mm-hmm.
She stopped him right there and there, like, listen, I understand, you may, you're a teenager, but you're not grown. You're gonna,
Mm-hmm.
you gotta uh think more before you act. You gotta think about that because we know uh for black kids, you don't get a chance to be kids. It's
Mm-mm.
like society throws that adult title on you as soon as you go through puberty, or
Absolutely.
they it's a you should have known better. Whereas our counterparts, they get to be kids. They get
Mm-hmm.
kids being kids. They get to make mistakes.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas black kids don't get that grace all the time.
Mm-hmm.
And
Makai was very fortunate because not only did Dr. Patterson had the benefit of raising a child. She raised one child, she raised a boy, and the fact that she stayed around so she can raise this child that's not biologically her son. So he was a very, very, very fortunate kid, which is why I believe he would have come around to Hayden eventually. He just needed time to adjust. It was a surprise pregnancy. It was an unplanned pregnancy, one night stand. He needs his time too. So I think if we would have gotten 3 books, we would have seen a good turnaround between those two.
And I think Hayden was understanding because me, somebody you would have got somebody like me would have, sent him to hell. But she was very understanding, and she said, I know what it's like to not be considered as part of the family,
Yeah,
to be
yeah.
considered an outsider. So that's why she said I
Mm-hmm.
wanted to connect with him because I feel we have so much in common.
In common.
I like that she had patience with him. I personally wouldn't have had that patience with him, but
Mm-hmm.
she had it. And
Mm-hmm.
I admire her for that. Like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I didn't really have any dislikes in these books. The book was comical to me. It was so many layers to it where I was laughing at the little
Oh, that's good.
things, the little, tidbits, the little jokes you put in. I was entertained the whole book. I really like this book. I know you said I haven't been in your inbox a lot, and this because life been lifing. But
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna start putting up my stuff about this book, my little quotes, because you put a lot of gems in here. Some
Oh,
stuff
good.
that I'm gonna be using, when I'm talking to people, and the references are there. I did like how, even though we saw them apart in the first book, how they came together in the second book, that was fresh out of me. I'm like, okay, she's falling. You got to see them fall in love. It's like, okay,
Mm-hmm.
we got the hard part out the way.
Mm-hmm.
Now the
Mm-hmm.
easy part is falling in love.
That
And
truly is the easiest part. The falling in love and the mess. The
Mhm.
hardest part is the character development.
Mhm.
It's painful. It can be painful because it's like, who are these people? Like, there's just so much information. Okay, we know who the main characters are in the LB book because of the titles, the image titles. But this is going on. Like, when are we gonna get to the? So when you're building a story, I don't do insta love. Maybe I will
No,
have a client that worked with. But that's not really what I do. And you also got to bring in the challenge, like what's going to prevent them from getting to their happily ever after. So I think maybe that's
Ebony.
why my standalones are not as popular as my serials. But then I get, I'm not cool on with the
What you
TikTok crew because I think you have to do too much work in my book. You have to really just walk the journey. It's not going to be given to you. It's not going to be.
It's not in your face. You got to walk with us. Baby, you got
Yeah,
to walk the burning sands. What you think?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I think for some readers, they don't want to have to dig that much. And I don't know. I can only do what I can do. But yeah, yeah, getting those challenges there and falling in love is easy. Telling who the people are in real life is not, and then closing the book to make sure they've worked through some things, to make sure they've done some work. That's hard
Mhm.
too. So that middle part, falling in love, is the easiest. Like In Love with Ezra, I'm editing it now. In Love with Ezra and Love Uncharted are my two favorite books in the LBU, and it's it's because the character development is done. Now it's the fun part: falling in love, having sex, and So, so
And
yeah,
I
it's
look
a
forward
journey.
to Ezra saying, Christ.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
That's
yeah. Oh
I
my
told
God.
you I need, and it's crazy because I be messing with Ayana because when they be asking for visual, how I be putting up TD Jakes,
See,
like that is like the highlight of my
I
life.
forgot you do
Just
that. I
getting
forgot
on
that you do.
getting on Ayana's
That's
nerves with that.
mine. Oh my gosh, I love the pairing of those two. So I'm in Love Unaccounted land now, and it's splitting that between Brielle, who so I feel so warm writing the beginning of her book. She's coming or ending a leg of her tour, and just seeing all the behind the scenes stuff, like what happens at a tour, like what do you do once you just closed a show of like 70,000 people in a stadium. Like, what do you do after you say, give it up for my band, give it up for my background singers? Like, just interesting. Uh, what comes after that? Like, and what type of headspace are you in? So that's been interesting too. So I've been split between those two worlds.
And I like how in a book she told Ishan, she's like, I'm not jealous of Tori. I
Mm-mm.
just think that, I can see why I deserve just, not exactly what she has, why I deserve a husband
Mm-hmm.
and children as well. And I
Mm-hmm.
listen, I wonder what I'm dying to see who her love interest will be if she has one.
Mm-hmm.
Cause whew, I'm looking at 973. I'm reading. I'm like, will it be one of these? Would it be somebody in the industry?
Mm.
Would it be like a regular smuggler? Because honestly,
Yeah.
I can see her being with a garbage man. I can see
Mm-hmm.
her being a Julia Roberts and just picking, someone not in the industry, but
Someone
at
not
the
in the
bottom of the
industry. Yeah.
barrel that you guys never heard of and living my
Mm-hmm.
life and being happy. It's like
And
people
mm-hmm.
have this, especially when you're rich and young and famous, they have this image of who you should be with.
Mm-hmm.
It has to be someone on your level or higher, when a lot of times people want you to be with who they want you to be with, and
Mm-hmm.
the second you choose yourself and who you want to be with is backlash, like,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Especially
not
with
just
someone like Brielle, who
yeah.
has been, Brielle is a split between Beyonce and Rihanna.
Hmm.
So with Brielle, who's been in the industry since she was a teenager, she's been in front of a camera. I think simplicity is the way for her. Now I do
Yes.
hear some celebrities say, I'm with someone who understands my lifestyle. I do hear that, and I can see how that can work for some people. They understand the demands. They understand how how murky it can be. So when you're with someone who can understand, they're more gracious to you, and you can kind of maneuver through that and create like something real. Or if you're at the height Brielle is at, you don't want any of that. You want something private, something for you, something tucked away. Um, yeah.
I can see that. Like I said, I can see her with a garbage man, someone who works for the city. I don't
He
think
doesn't.
Brielle is complicated. I don't
Mhm,
think she aspires to be with, the Austin Sears of the world or the Young
mm-mm,
Lords of the world. I think she want simplicity. I think she
mhm,
wants, just like how Ashton is with Tori. We know he's a big name, but he's not up in the camera. He protects
mhm.
her. He
He's
and
not a
Tori
celebrity.
is, yeah, but
He's
he's
just
not a celebrity.
what do you call it? He's a public figure, but he's not a
Mhm.
celebrity. And Tori is both. You're right.
I love it. I'm
You're
I'm
right.
listen, when I say I'm gonna be with for Brielle, I might call in from work that day when her book releases.
Yeah, I'm excited though. I'm
And I've
excited.
done that before for your books, by the way. I've called in because I'm reading. I remember, and I don't want to say the book I was reading, but I was reading a book and you released My Muted Love, and that was what, 2020?
Two. Yep. 20.
I
No, no, no.
I
Yeah, 2020.
I haven't.
This COVID thing, it just
Mhm.
messes up your mind with the timeline. 2020, Maya. Yes, you're right.
So I put it down and started reading My Muted Love, and I never picked that book back up. I'm just like, I'm so invested in Tori.
Well, you know what? I'm sure people have done that with my books. I think
I'm like,
it's what it is.
I think you literally dropped it. I think you dropped it like 12 o'clock in the middle of the day. I still
Mm.
remember that day. I remember laying on my bed reading a book, and like I think it was Kima who called, like, love just dropped. Oh, let's go. I went and bought it,
Oh,
and I never went back to that book, and I don't regret it because it's like I'm reading. I'm like, oh, and then I got Jennifer, and I'm like, Jennifer, you got to read this book. I say, I don't know
Clark.
where this came from. Yeah, I'm like,
Oh,
I don't
shout
know
out
where
to
this
my
came
girl
from.
Jen.
Yeah, so I got Jen into it, and I never went back. I still remember that day what I was doing, how I dropped that book and never went back. And I'm like, and then, to this day, I be like, I never finished that book because I was
Uh
so into love what she was doing. And I remember you writing the post. You was like, I know you guys are thinking I'm crazy, but you will see where I'm going with this book. You had put up like a
oh.
meme
Okay.
because I think everybody was on your page like, where did this come
Yeah.
from? Tori, I think
Yeah.
just so shocked, you know.
Yeah.
But Oh my God. I will say I it's hard to name a favorite
Mhm.
in the LBU, but that book I promise you, and I read it over and over again. And then when it came on Audible, like that was just the def because I just would play it and play it and play it and play it, and I love that. Oh, and the Wayward Love series, like those are two the Audibles where I just go back and just listen to randomly.
Yeah,
But I love it. Now when lit come on, that may have my heart. You know I'm in the ineligible receiver. Rut is that's my man. That's my man, my man, my
I
man.
love her. Now I was in a grocery store listening to Rut and like just having to remind myself, can't nobody hear but you, because Rut was dropping bombs in there. I'm like, what? Were you really that disrespectful? And I
Yes,
loved him.
yes.
He was my a-hole, and we tend
Yes.
to like a-holes, even though they're annoying. But
Putting the girls in the room with Sharky and I'm like,
oh, I was like, what, did you really do that?
yes, he did. I'm like, and when he's throwing down the shields, like I'm not chasing you, and he's still
Oh
there. I
man,
say,
I felt that in the back of my heart. She was really being sincere. Her thing is, if you want to go, that's fine. But I don't think you know what you're doing. Like, I don't think this is going to turn out the way you want it to turn out. And then the sad part about it, she was saying that this is my handicap. Once you leave my heart, it's hard for you to come back in. And she was trying to warn him. And they spent a few months in obscurity up until they had the baby because of that. Because
mhm,
no one really stood for Parker. In fact, Alex Monroe said, I think that was one of her favorite clients of mine to portray in the LBU. I think
I
that was it for
love,
her. She
yes, I
said
love Parker.
she's just so chill. So yeah, I love Parker.
I love Parker. Parker and Shishi are my favorite women, and
Yeah,
Shishi, I don't know why. I just feel like I need to protect Shishi from all the demons in your universe because they be coming after her, and I be like, "There's just no Shishi." I have to start stuff out. There will be no Shishi
she
stand.
she slander. I
Like there will
like
be
she. I
no
loved her.
Shishi
I
slander.
mean, she can't help who she is. She's just who she. Let me say something. She possibly has one of the best personalities out of all my female clients. She
Every
is the
start.
fun girl.
Mm-hmm.
She's the party girl. She's like, if you're in the room with her, you got to be on a good vibe. See, we went behind a veil and we caught her in a complicated situation where she wasn't her best. She's reputation is, hey, you saw in a complicated series. She's dancing, she's performing, she's being
Mm-hmm.
silly. She doesn't take herself seriously. That's what
Sexual
she
chocolate.
is.
This
But
is
when you're
sexual
talking about
chocolate.
somebody, huh?
When she was like, "This is sexual chocolate," when they
Oh
was
my God,
getting
that's
ready for the
that's
karaoke.
her. She's
Mm-hmm.
just fun. But when we saw her with this guy, and she was like, survivor mode kicked in, and yeah, we saw her little nose go up, and it infuriated her when she's just like, I'm feeling you, and I shouldn't be because I know enough about you to feel
Cause you're
me.
a
And then
laborer,
like,
you're a felon laborer, and I'm like, okay, like you guys, she was right. He was a felon laborer, okay. Like,
he wasn't a laborer though.
I mean, he wasn't, but that's what he told her.
That's what he
She
that's what he
going
wanted
by
her to
what
know. He was
exactly.
like, I'm a laborer. You don't want me.
And she was
I thought
such a dynamic woman. He did not want her to know that side of him because he didn't want to. And I think that's how great her personality was. Jazz did not want to lose. He hazed her
yeah.
every step of the way. To keep her on her toes, to keep her. But he was
He
in love
did.
with that
But I
woman.
think I think even if Jazz felt at one point when he was feeling her, I think at one point he felt, even if I can't have her, I'm not gonna let her see me that ugly in me. Like
Hmm.
his pride would not allow, like, even if this doesn't work out, or even like at the end of uh Grace, and she had to announce it to her family and he left out and he said, you can't be with another man. And she
And he
said,
was
what's your
serious.
name? And he was like, you don't need to know, because at that point, even if I can't have you, I will never give you the benefit of knowing my name so that you can see my ugly. Like, my pride is too strong. Like, I don't want you to see the ugly because I've done so much work.
Hmm.
It's not close. It's not fair. He was wrong for that. Don't get me wrong. But his thing is, I still want you to see some good in me. So I found that to be very, very interesting. But I don't think, I imagine Jazz is having more fun with Ashira now than he was during that period of getting to know her,
Because he was so
because
guarded. Remember,
it was just always something, and she was just
yeah.
like, I can't relate. Like, she's really a fun person. She's really the one that's gonna keep you in stitches, laughing, being silly. She's explorative. She's really a fun girl. But he didn't get that because, hey, love can give you some ugly too. Love can give you the feel goods, but it can give you some ugly too. So yeah, I love Shishi. She's just like everybody's best friend.
She was. Even Hayden was saying she's really she was looking forward to her doing the Brielle concert, and when she mentioned she wasn't out, but that's another thing I bust out laughing. So when she was in Spain, she was like, "Oh, Jazz doesn't like her." She Oh my God, it was one of those, girl, you had to be that moments. Is no,
Mm-hmm.
but I got it. I got it. And even with was it Low Fidelity when they were in the book, Jazz and Shishi on his boat, right?
That was Love's Neutral Zone. That was CK5. And
Okay.
Raina and Asmir was there. That was
Yeah, yeah,
Sundria and
yeah. Okay,
Haas.
okay, okay. Okay, that
Mm-hmm.
was okay. I
Mm-hmm.
remember, she was saying like she was beautiful and la la la. And I'm just like everybody sees the good in Shishi. It's like no, I don't think no character has said, well, Shishi is this and Shishi is that. That's why I want a lot of the people who read her stories, like they said, they saw her beyond the veil, under the veil. Y'all saw her at
Mm-hmm.
her worst. But
Mm-hmm.
everybody in the LBU loves her. She's a
Yeah.
dynamic woman. Yeah.
Oh, she's the bomb. She's always with jokes and stuff like that.
Mhm.
And that's the thing. I feel bad about uh is that people miss that part of her because she was judgmental. I would be judgmental too. Even if I wouldn't have handled things exactly the way she did, I, as a curious person, I mean, I'm sure I would have made some of the same mistakes, but Shishi is really that girl. I like Shishi a lot.
Me
I
too.
can't wait to walk through her day with her. Um, and I want her and Jazz to have a good day, their wedding
You
day.
think that was
Yeah.
the one couple I was hoping she found somebody? Oh my God! You know what? I'm gonna listen again, and I'm gonna make
Who
myself like
Brielle?
no with Shishi. I was hoping she didn't end up with him. Like she found
Oh.
somebody else. So
Somebody else. That was the project that divided the LBU, wasn't it?
yes, because
Yeah.
I'm like she deserves better, and they like he. I'm like, how did she is better? He's not. She
He's
was
a good person,
changing.
my Jazz is a good man, Savannah. Okay.
Hmm. Hmm. So yeah, that was one. But I'm looking forward to again when your Audible drops. I'll be right there using my credits. There we go. Here we go. There we go.
Thanks, my.
I'll be using my credits because I it's one thing, like you said, it's one thing to read it, but I think the
Mhm.
Audible brings it to another dimension. Like the emotions
Mhm.
are in, and I
Mhm.
can hear them talking in the way that is wrote, where sometimes it's different from what you know, I would have read it at in,
Mhm.
or
Mhm.
the tone I would have saw it in.
Mhm.
But man, I think your audibles be saving me because I be at work like I need something to listen to, and I still go back to your.
Oh, well, thanks, my. That means a lot. Shout out to the narrators too.
Oh yeah, great job.
Yeah, I some of them really do care and they want this project to come out well. And also too, I have to let go and it has to be up to their interpretation. It may not have been the way I saw it in my head, but it's the way that they picked it up as they're going through the journey too. But I just shout out to my narrators, and I call them mine because I feel like they're part of our LBU too because they take it so
Hmm.
seriously. So shout out to them. Yeah, they're incredible.
I really, and the thing is, I really enjoy them coming to life. I'm like, oh, that's how he sound. Oh, that's how.
Mhm.
Oh, okay. Oh,
Mhm.
he was not. Listen, he was not happy when he told this, or he was. I think that that helps. more the
Hmm.
audible. But I remember you saying, you were exploring it and then it came, and I'm like, as they drop, I'm like, finally, like, yes. So
I
I
think
know you're
so.
you're getting to Brielle. Are we getting another CK?
I'm sure. I'm sure. I was talking to CCJ about that about a month ago. I'm sure. It's not. It won't be in 2025 though.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah,
I
maybe next year. I don't know, but I definitely I was talking to her about my options with that in terms of my next set of clients for that series. So yeah.
So you went. I know a couple of careers. You usually do. I know we did the sports. We did the music industry. Is there a you even went to building? Like she was a builder. Is there an occupation you want to visit where maybe the guy and girl don't have those ties? Like
What do you mean?
like
Sadiq
ties.
was in Sadiq was he had a unique career.
Yeah, but he was still, the million. His dad has ties to
Supply
the
chain.
shoes. Yeah,
Well, his career, his moneymaker, he was in supply chain. So he was a
yeah.
courier. So what? I'm sorry, your question. Going back to your
Like,
question.
is there a career you want to touch on? Cause it's like sometimes I be sitting there like, dang, that sound like that'll be something I want to go into. And it's like they have many hats. Like a lot of your, like Ezra, he's a chemist, he's also a pastor. Rajay, he was also into commercial real estate along with
Hmm.
being an artist. It's like they have
Hmm.
many hats.
Hmm.
Ashton, he was a football player that he wanted that to be his career, and instead he ended up with the franchise. Well, not
Hmm.
ended up with, he, took on his legacy as
Hmm.
the franchise. And I know, I'm not really sad that she died, but even Avery with the peanut farm, it was the
Hmm.
legacy she was carrying on. Question: Are we going to get an update on the twins?
Hmm. Oh, well, maybe we will because
Because
what's
we
taking
got,
on Tori's best friend.
yeah,
Brielle is Tori's best, so maybe we
and we
will.
we got Stenton, and Zoe.
Jordan,
Yeah, we
yeah,
got
your
Jordan. We
son.
got the update. Like, hey, Jordan is,
I
Jesus.
know
He
that
about
was
to graduate
freaky.
high school.
Yeah, that was crazy. Yeah, I'm sure. I'm sure because we're on to her best friend, so I'm sure we'll get more of Tori and her family and where they are now. But wait, Mom, I'm trying to understand your previous question about the occupation.
So, like, you know how, like, I and I said, I know I brung it up with the guy, Bree needs a garbage man.
Hmm.
You think maybe she'll fall for the bellhop at the
You know
hotel?
what's so funny? I think you and I are more in sync with this real thing than I want to admit. I want to admit, and when I think about his name is Brock. When I think about Brock's profession, when you get it, you're gonna be like, okay, now I know love was right. We were here. Yeah.
All
Mhm.
right. I was,
You were looking like
and I know you did it with Tori and Ashton. Like, she came from nothing, and he was rich. He was able to provide her with things, And Sadiq was able to do it with Milan as well. Like, she wasn't as rich as he was. So we have it. We have had both ways. We had the woman who had more. We had the man who had more. So I get it. I don't know. I wanted somebody to go from literally rags to riches, but it be the girl doing it to the guy. Like how Ashton bossed Tori up. I'm waiting on that to happen in LBU, but with the female character doing it to the guy.
when it flips. Yeah. Hmm.
I am ready. And I listen. Brielle deserves love. Brielle deserves this story to be told. We've been looking at her being the damsel in distress and the home wrecker and
Home wrecker.
everything else in all these books. And I've always said I didn't hate Brielle.
Mm-mm.
I really and it's a lot of them, they didn't I never hated Brielle. I
Hmm.
just thought Brielle needed a reality check and somebody
Hmm.
had to give it to her. And
Mhm.
I know it's gonna happen in this book, but
Mhm.
I'm ready. Like whatever you have, I'm ready.
But I think the key thing is Brielle is ready. We're not going to find her in the space that we met her. We're not going to find her in those spaces where we saw she wasn't doing right. Brielle is in a place where she's open to her good. She's doing the work to better who she is. So and I think that makes it easier for me to come in, to go in and come out. Go and do what I do and then come out. So
Okay.
yeah, she's in a better space, and which is what we learned in Inevitably Love. What she was trying to tell is Sean, she's evolving
So will we get her this year or next year?
this year. Hmm.
Listen, I'm calling in. I'm letting you know. I'm letting you know. I'm calling in. Kima, y'all get ready. Kima, Ayana,
Kima B,
Allegra. Yeah,
Kima
Kima
B,
B.
shout out to
That's
Kima
that's
B.
that's my LB reading team. Miss Kima, Evelyn, Jennifer, Ayana,
Easy
and
E.
Allegra. Baby, we be on it. I'm telling you, we ready.
DSB.
We ready. We ready.
So, Maisha, I want to just say, and I always tell you this, I think you have a very unique personality. I think you don't bring, I'm going to be honest with you, I feel like you don't bring your ego into this community. Your heart is here. You're so passionate and you go so hard for us, so hard. And even the random posting on my page. And I know, you've had authors that you support, going to their events, and if I can multiply you and have more of you, I would do it. And I just want to say thank you so much because you spend your hard-earned money on this independent Black authors. Like, and it's something that I would, before I started writing, I would have never thought existed. But I have to say, when you talk about supporters, I don't have fans. I have supporters. You talk about supporters. I feel like now that I've been publishing this way, I have a new appreciation for Black women because we do get behind each other, and you are evidence of that all the time. And I love rattling you, and you be like, yeah, such and such with his little. I said, what's so little about them, Maya? And just to going back and forth and stuff, and it keeps it. It's just I appreciate you, and I don't want you to change. I really don't. And I just pray that you can stay motivated to be the wonderful supporter you are, and you are a phenomenal supporter.
Thank you so much for that. Oh my
Yeah.
god. I feel like I just love this community. It's bigger than people imagine it to be, but the love that we get from the authors is like the even you with birthday shout outs, the how all us be telling everybody that you post happy birthday. We never saw them a day in our life. But if
I
they
know.
if love wished them a happy birthday, then they are special. And I think we embrace the way you take it because you're easy to love,
I think I get that from you guys. I think I got into this thing and I'm thinking like I don't know them. These are virtual people. And then I lost my first sister, Rita Nina, and the sadness and the tears that followed that and haunted me for a while. And I had to be honest with myself. I'm like, they're not just they're real people, and
yeah.
they are. This is our common place where we bond. And clearly, if we're reading the same books, we have so many commonalities. We are one. So it's like, I feel like I learned that when I started publishing. I didn't think this was ever possible. And when I tell you, Maisha, your personality is so unique. It's like, oh God, here go mine's coming. Let's see what she gonna say today. And it's
Hey
just the
Josh,
passion you
especially
bring.
Josh. Josh be like, I ain't in the mood for Maisha today.
But this is our space. You
hmm
know what I mean? And you brighten it for me. So thank you so much, man.
Thank you. Well, it was great sitting with you. I really enjoyed this. And when Brielle comes out, I'm gonna be front and center, baby. I'm letting you know. I'm calling in. I'm being your in. And that's the thing. I be wanting to wait until I finish to get in your inbox now. But with Brie, I already know. you just push your day aside. You gonna be like, really, my you only on the second page. You don't wrote me 40 times. That's how it's gonna be. Cause I'm ready for this. I promise you. I think this gonna be the most anticipated for me. Cause I have been waiting and ready for Bria. I kept saying she needs a book, and I remember you said it before that she will, and I'm like,
Josh,
yeah.
so you're the second person because Josh was the first person who reminded. She said, and not that she cares about Brielle, but she said because I was supposed to take on Brielle around the Muta hopelessness time, probably when I was writing Sadiq, like I had started hearing from her. And then other clients were louder, and then audio came through. So it was just like Brielle kept getting pushed back. But now Brielle is expected in audio. So I said, okay, let me get Brielle. Let's take care of her. And it's warm. It's giving me the feel. So I pray it connects with everyone else in the LBU because again, LBU for some reason they don't like standalones, and Brielle is just going to be a standalone. So,
No, it's only gonna be one book.
mm-hmm,
Hmm,
mm-hmm.
I don't know how I feel about that.
I know. See, because you because you're in the LVU, but yeah, yeah. Brielle was originally supposed to be like a novella, um, but I don't think I'm ready to do a novella. I have to learn how to do a novella, and I don't think I have the skill set yet. I would have loved for Brielle to just be a novella, but I have to learn how to do it now. I have to learn how to write like that, and there is a skill to it, but
It is. It is.
yeah,
Oh well, okay. I mean, I have to take what I can get.
yeah.
So she's going to be one book. Okay, I want to see this.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, this is yeah.
I said I'd like to see
I
it.
want to see how this
Yeah.
go, and I wish the best. I want the best for her. I
Mm-hmm.
want her to have that happy ending. So
Mm-hmm.
okay. Well, it was great sitting with you. We have been talking for a while, and I appreciate you sitting with me out of your busy day. So
Okay.
thank you for joining us today.
No
I
problem.
really love talking to you. Can't wait to do
Oh,
this
same
again.
here. Well, thank you. Mwah.
Ah.
And I'll see you on the other side, fussing at
Right,
me about
right.
something or another.